Welcome, everybody, to The Other Side of Addiction. I'm your host, Al Richards, and we have our co-host back, JD. You finally got back from out of town.
Yeah, I've been out of town working, and hopefully here to stay for a while.
Yeah, let's hope so. We had Charity in the last couple times while you were gone.
Yeah, I made it too.
She did a great job.
I made it to last week's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
barely.
This is going so fast, man. I'm losing track of time.
Oh, trust me, that's why I texted you midnight last night. I was like,
no, 10:30,
right?
I know. We're getting to where we're actually adding 2 shows a week now because we just get people. They just keep reaching out and going, "Hey, I've heard about your show. I was listening to it. We want to be on it." Gosh, we got a gal from New Mexico that's going to be coming on, a guy from Virginia that's coming on, and I just had a mother and daughter who their son and brother is battling a heroin addiction, and they reached out to me on Instagram and said, "Hey, I heard about your show, and would you allow us to come on and share our story?" So this thing is going great, and we couldn't do it without all our supporters out there.
No.
All our sponsors, Resilience Talk Network, and everybody that's listening. So, hey, we got a great show for you guys today, especially those that listen to our show that are from the League of Giants. We've got the League of Giant guys right here in front of us. Matter of fact, first time Nick and we've met each other, right? So,
yeah.
Nick, thank you for being here, man.
You're welcome. It's
Love
good to be here.
Yeah, and Ryan, as his nickname on the Giants, Ryan the Lion, right?
Thank you. That's
Nick,
right.
Do you have a nickname?
They say the gentle giant or the mystical giant. Either one works.
Either one, you'll go with either
Nick. One. There's an alternative.
Hey, just Nick.
That rhymes.
Yeah.
Well, we won't say it on radio.
Yeah, we try to keep it clean, but every once in a while we have some things slip, but it's okay, you know. We haven't had any complaints yet. Thank goodness.
Right? No, we had a guest on here not too long ago that was like, "Is this PG rated?" Like, I just let some stuff fly sometimes.
Yeah, and there's some that I know how, you know, when they get talking, it's like, hey, just to give you a heads up, you know, we try to keep it. The 4-letter word that starts with an SH is okay.
Right.
The other one, let's just try to keep it to a minimal. But
dang it.
anybody,
that's my favorite.
Yeah,
I know. What rhymes with fire truck? You know, like
yeah.
Right.
It's or fruck. You can just say
right,
fruck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's how I used to pronounce truck when I was a little boy. So,
really?
Yeah, my mom and dad said I always said everything fruck. There's a fruck. So anyway,
Parents are like, what?
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for your time. Thank you for taking time out of your morning. I know both you guys work, and we were trying to plan a time when both of you guys were off. So, Nick, tell us a little bit about yourself, and let's just go from there.
Yeah, I'll go back in time a little bit. Started writing this book. I'll go back to the book because that's kind of where everything originated. So back in 2009, after the market crash of 2009, I was picking myself up from that, starting over and driving to work at my brother's every day, noticing that the houses on the hill, just wondering how they got there, and going through stages of depression like we all go through, and wondering if I have any worth or value, and listening to the book "Who Moved My Cheese" by Spencer Johnson.
Great book.
I haven't
really
read that.
good
Really
book.
good
And
book.
it's a simple read.
Wow.
I thought, man, I could write this. So I did. I wrote a version of it. And so that's where the Giants and the Smalls originated from, was that experience of feeling really, really low. I think depression has this ability to help us look at life a little differently and then to create something from it. And so hopefully we can touch on that today. But 11 years now since I wrote that book. We finally got it launched last year, 2020. And in a year, we've developed and created a tribe of giants, over 3,800 members there. We have the League of Giants. We have programs that we put together, the 12 Journeys. We've taught teachers all over the states. We're just growing, you know, and with that, there comes again that growing pain. So that's kind of where we are right now. You know, I'm divorced. I've got 4 kids. So obviously I'm doing something right.
Yeah.
Right. I got it all figured out.
With the divorce, I don't know. I think I got you beat. I've had 3 of them. So.
Oh, sure. You're stacking them up.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to keep up with Elizabeth Taylor, but I think I'm done. The one I'm on right now, it's It's been 15 years. So.
I don't know if I can afford another one.
Yeah, they get expensive.
Yeah. In a nutshell, that's me.
Well, cool. Ryan, what about yourself?
I don't know if my story is as cool as Nick's. Nick's got a pretty cool story. And look at this guy. Look at him decked out. He looks pretty.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
Good thing he's the face of the company, right? Well, my name is Ryan Morris. I grew up in Murray, Utah, so not far from. We're here in Murray right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great place to be. Small town feel inside of a city. Went to Murray High School, graduated, got married, had too many kids. How many do I have?
He's
5?
got a lot of kids. It's like rabbits.
Yes.
Brady Bunch or what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is 5 kids, and then
He sped it up by doing 2 at a time.
yeah, just get them over with.
Yeah.
Just twins. The boom.
Huh.
And I worked for a company, 1-800 Contacts, when I first got married. Learned management skills, people skills. Was their shipping manager for a few years, and then decided I wanted to get my feet wet into business, things like that. Went to work for a guy that actually here in Murray, who did bookbinding. And after a couple years inside of that, decided I don't think I want to do bookbinding, but I like business. So I started my own business. I went out and started an auction house and a consignment store, so I can talk fast. Somebody give me 5, 10, 15, now 20, 25, 30, that kind of thing.
That's pretty
right?
Damn.
And so
How much money you have?
yeah, how much money you got?
Because it'll be
Let's
gone.
start the bid. $0. Now need 0.
Yep.
And started a large consignment store and an auction house, in fact, here in Murray as well. And after, I don't know, we were open for business for about 5 years. And then business partner, his parents were getting old. They moved to, I think it was Arkansas or Oklahoma. I can't remember the two, but they were right on the border, and got a house, and he was done, and I was like, okay, well, now what do I do? So I'm at this crossroads in my life. What do I do? I was a power seller on eBay, and so I was making money outside of a job,
Yeah.
which was great because it allowed me some freedom and flexibility and some time to be able to decide what I want to do. And luckily for me, the universe had my back. God knows me, Ryan, he knew the struggles that I was having. And, like wondering, hey, am I enough? Like, I built this business up. It's going great. And then all of a sudden, poof, no business. I'm going, what do I do now? I've got family to take care of. I'm, not getting any younger. So to start something else, again, seemed like such a huge chore. Luckily for me, I had a friend who had gone to Camping World. I work for Camping World currently, and was their consignment manager. And that guy called me up and he said, dude, you would love this job. You get to wear a polo shirt, a hat. You don't have to shave. You drive around in a golf cart. You can wear shorts. You look like you're golfing, but selling fun all day. And I'm like, is this heaven?
Yeah.
Really? For real?
Can I hand out popsicles
yeah,
too?
right? Yeah, that's the only thing. In fact, a lot of times we do get ice cream on Saturdays,
that's
so that
cool.
works out great.
Yeah.
So I started at Camping World and loved it. I was nervous because it was something that I hadn't specifically sold. I've sold about 250,000 unique individual items, so I've sold a lot of unique items, but never specific, just this is what you sell. This is your box, this is your lane. So learning their process was new, but dove into that. After a little while, decided, look, I think I'm going to go work for a different RV dealership. So I left Camping World, showed up at General RV, worked for General RV, and boom, in walks the Gentle Giant one
Wow.
day. This dapper-looking dude just kind of cruises on through, right?
That's how we walked in.
Yeah, that's exactly. Hello,
My name's Nick.
my name is
Welcome to General
Yeah.
RV, right? Like this little wave on the side.
Nick would walk in. He would walk in like super confident, say hi to a few people, or people would say hi to him, and then he would say hi. And then cruise back to his office, hit him in the corner, We called it Mouse Corner.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
were mice.
There were mice.
Chewing through the covering on the floor.
Really?
To get through the door to get into my drawers where my snacks were.
Oh
Yeah,
my!
yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to steal his stuff. So after a while, I was like, dude, I passes by my desk every day, but I don't know him. I was like, I'm gonna go get to know this guy. So I stood up, walked over to his office, sat down, said, hey, who are you? Like, let's talk.
Man, you're blunt.
Yeah, we're just like, I see you every day, but I don't know you. Let's
Yeah.
get to know each other. And so we started talking, and he's obviously one of the finance managers, and so starts talking about finance, and he says, I'm also a coach and an author. What? Like that caught my attention, because one of my purposes, like one of my main purposes, is helping people while helping myself. Like that is my purpose. I don't care how I do it, what it looks like, as long as that's being fulfilled.
Right.
And that was something that has always been up my alley, is coaching. And like writing a book, I was like, dude, that helps people, like that's legit. And he's like, you want to see it? I was like, yeah. He flips around the screen and he's got it in digital form, and it's not in the exact form that it was now, but it was pretty close. And we're looking at it, I'm just like, what? Like you have this? When did you write this? Like last week or something? He's like, no, like 11 years ago, 10 years ago, or 9 years ago.
Yeah. It was
Holy
it was
cow.
probably 9 years ago at that
I'm
point.
like, what? Like you have this thing, this amazing thing. Like this would help so many people. This would help my kids, parents, like anybody, people battling addiction, people that have depression, anxiety, any of the hard challenges in life. I wish I would have found this book when I was a kid. And it's a kid's book written for adults. It's like the
Yeah,
Spencer Johnson.
that's how my wife says it too. That exact
That's
same
how
way.
I wrote it. That
Yeah.
Spencer Johnson's book was the inspiration for the way this is formatted.
Got
It
it.
is for adults,
Yeah.
but it resonates with kids.
And it's
Yeah.
and it was like a Pixar movie sitting there, in book form, and I'm like, whoa! I just got this. I got the chills just now. Just like this, I don't know. Just this whole thing went into my body about I'm going to be in business with this guy. I don't know how. I don't know where, why, what, anything.
Just start stealing his
I know.
snacks.
right.
Just blame it on the mice.
Can I borrow that?
Can I borrow that?
I'm like, my drawers have been empty.
Yeah.
What's
Damn mice.
a lot? Like,
So Nick and I like
and they open the wrappers perfectly.
perfectly.
I don't
Yeah.
even get
And
How the
it.
seal
hell
it
did they
back
do
up.
it?
Yeah.
So Nick and I, it's interesting because from that point, I asked him about coaching, because that was kind of the next step. Like, how do you do it? What are you doing? And he said, look, I'm doing an event. So I went to an event and watched Nick on stage talking to people, and was like, wow, that guy is powerful. He's got a talent. He's got multiple talents. And I left that event with my wife, and I said, look, I don't know how, but I'm going to be in business with that guy. She's like, well, good luck.
Yeah. That
See
sounds
you
like
later.
a wife's
So
remark.
I was
get
like,
the
I'm
same
going to do
thing.
it. Like, I've always,
Yeah.
my personality, I owned a paper route when I was 8 years old. I saved 10 grand for my LDS mission.
Wow.
Like myself. Like, I'll go out, figure out a way to get it done.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what it is. Started a business with $300, made it into a $1 million company, and I lost it. That was great. But then, same thing. I set records in sales inside of RV dealerships, and I'm like, I am going to work with Nick. This is happening. Walked in the next day. I was like, dude, that was awesome. I was like, I have a great idea. You and I should be business partners. He's like, no, I don't do business partners, man. Oh, great. So I was like, all right, I'm going to win this guy over time. So we just became friends.
Yeah.
Like, that wasn't the goal. Like, I didn't have this, like, I'm going to be in business with Nick. But my heart was crushed. And then one day, me and another salesman are sitting in Nick's office, and all of a sudden he's like, I have a great idea. And Nick's famous for this. Nick's famous for these ideas
Yeah.
that weren't his, but then he made his over time, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, dude, we should be in business together. No, you can't have my idea.
That's how you get things done. You give me a seed of an idea, and then let me come back to you like it's my idea.
Yeah.
And then we'll do
Let it grow a little
Yeah,
bit. Maybe
yeah.
just change it a little
So,
bit. Yeah.
now I know the approach.
Yeah.
Hey, Nick, I swear I heard you talking about us going into business one day.
That's
Isn't
right.
that correct?
It'll come back around. Just give it a minute.
We can do it. Solar cells, right? Let's
Yeah,
get it
right.
done.
That's what I'm in right now. Yeah. Yep.
Perfect. So then at that point, in fact, we actually went into business doing something different, completely different. We started creating sales material and content in that realm because he has finance experience, sales experience. I mean, just tons of experience inside of sales and marketing and all this stuff. And I had learned it through the things that I had done over the years as well. And so we meshed the best of those two worlds, started putting that content together. And we went to an event where Richard Paul Evans, we happened to be in
his building.
Right
Yeah.
now. And he walks in the door. We didn't have any idea he was going to be there. We were meeting with some other people. We met Curtis Marsh. Love you, Curtis. Some great people. There were some amazing business leaders from Utah in that group that I'm friends with that before, and walked into the meeting was like, hey, what are you doing here? They're like, what are you doing here? It was so cool. And in walked Richard Paul Evans.
Wow.
One of the guys, Dan Rawls. You know Dan as well, I believe.
Yes, I do know Dan.
Dan said, hey, look, I want to introduce you to Richard Paul Evans. And so we stayed later after the meeting and got together with Richard Paul Evans, and Nick said, hey, you want to see my book? He was like, sure, yeah. He flips through it. It's on his tablet. He's sitting there going through it. And Rick is like, oh, this is amazing. He said, you need to come to one of my author events. So we booked an author event. And Nick went to the author event, and 3 days, or 3 days.
3 days.
I think it was 3 full days with Richard Paul Evans talking about how to put your books together, what to do, the whole 9 yards of everything you pretty much need to know inside of that. So you're sitting there with a master, somebody that has 40 some odd New York Times bestseller
He knows.
books.
Yeah.
This
guy knows. Yeah.
And it changed everything for us at that moment in time. Like we shifted from the training that we were going to do to we can help all of these people with this tool. Let's get it going.
But in the true nature of life, it was we were going down one path, and then Rick Evans shows up, and now we're on a completely different path. We were doing this finance calculator, training, sales training, and we thought, yeah, this will be a way for us to create. And then Rick Evans comes in, and the whole dynamic changes. And not only that, the way I had planned to market the book and bring it to market totally shifted. So I took the money I was going to put in that, put it into Rick Evans, and man, it was the best thing I could have ever done.
Isn't that weird too? Because we like taking that money, we were like holding it so close and tight, like this is special
making
money.
Sure it's not going to go anywhere.
And then it goes somewhere completely different, and you're like, oh, trusting, right?
Yeah,
letting go,
having that faith, knowing that if that's the direction it's supposed to go.
Yeah,
right?
I don't even at that time, not even a faith, just I'm doing it.
Yeah,
I don't know, maybe that is faith.
But I think it is.
Yeah.
But Rick Evans, his whole point of view is when you build the platform, then you have a space to sell your book. And so we slowed down on trying to sell the book and worked on building the platform. That's where the Tribe of Giants came from. We started doing Wake Up with Giants TV. It was just me and Ryan. Initially, it was just me talking about my life and what I was going through. And then Ryan came on and started doing that with me. And then we started bringing guests on. Now we're on episode 90.
Yeah.
Plus the radio show, plus tips and tricks, or tips and tricks?
Tips and tricks.
Tips and
Yeah.
It's a totally another show.
Turn
It's a different show. That's the R-rated one, guys.
Yeah.
We said we'd keep it PG.
Yeah.
Can we rewind that a little bit?
Yeah.
We just our goal was to serve our community, and it's in that serving the community that it started to grow. And we were introduced to you and Nicole and all these other people that we had never met before.
JD.
That really helped us evolve it to what it is today. And now, even now, we're still going through growing pains, trying to figure out, okay, what's the next step? And kind of going back to that point of we thought we were going in this direction, and then Rick Evans comes in. And here we are at another bifurcation in life.
Isn't it so weird how you have an idea, or now we were talking before the show, both of you guys have been through some crap. I mean, all of us in this room and everybody that's listening, some just don't want to admit it, in all honesty. But we've all been through some shit, just to put it that way. Did you guys ever think that everything that you guys have gone through, you even starting to write this book 10, 11 years ago, excuse me, that it would be taking your lives in the direction that it's going? Because I've listened to a lot of the shows, a lot of the guests that you guys have on your show. man, sometimes I think my life was hell, and I listen to some of theirs, and I'm going, crap, man, mine was just a scratch in the rear end. I mean, just the one that was out this past Sunday was Sarah. Holy cow, man. I was listening to that with goosebumps the whole flipping time I was listening to that. But did you guys ever picture that hard times that you had in your life would take you to this? I mean, Ryan, you're like, I'm gonna work with this guy. Nick, one day you're like, oh, I'm gonna write a book. To see where it's at now.
No, not a chance. I mean, I was taking one step in the darkness every day, just trying to figure out, okay, what now? What now? And some days in that, the depression around that was so severe. Like, I had thoughts, I don't even belong here. You know, just thoughts of what's my purpose. Going through the divorce was probably the worst, because we had just bought a home. We were together 17 years. I've got 4 kids. And here I feel just like a piece of shit, you know? I'm living in my brother's basement, trying to figure out who I am. And I made a commitment, Ryan knows about this, to just not cause additional harm in that relationship. And so I used a concept called putting a marble in the jar. And I would every day do something for her, for my ex, and for my kids. And it was the best thing I could have ever done. On the day that the divorce was finalized, I was on the other side of Utah Lake. Man, I'll get emotional on this. I was at the end, you know.
Yeah.
I'm out there on the other side of the lake. It's just empty fields when you get south of Utah Lake, out by Saratoga. And there's nothing. There's nothing out there. I'm walking on a dirt road out there, and I find a marble.
Wow.
So
out in the middle of nowhere.
Out in the middle. It's in my truck. I have it here. Symbolic, you know, no accidents. That shifted everything. I have a good relationship with my ex now. I have a great relationship with my kids now. But I couldn't have envisioned that going through the darkness. I've been learning around depression, if I can talk about this for just a minute.
Please do.
Is that good? Yeah. Depression is actually an evolutionary adaptation. It's something that we designed and created as humans to get through changes. So when something doesn't go as planned, depression is actually meant to help us retreat, to help us step back, to reflect. And the challenge is that many of us get stuck in that reflection and we don't step out, because the opportunity in depression is change. And so, unfortunately, a lot of people take their lives before they get to that point. And so you were talking about a buddy that was driving up to the bridge ready to jump off, somebody that was on this show, ready to jump off the bridge.
Yep.
Right? That's the depression. But he looks back now, and that whole experience is what created what is today. The Giants and the Smalls was created from depression. The whole picking it up from the divorce was created from depression. It's the greatest gift we could have ever been given. But people don't look at it that way. It's just like uncertainty. I ask the question to people, do you like uncertainty? And they say no. Do you like depression? No, hell no. But when you understand how it's serving you, that it creates resiliency, that it creates an opportunity to reflect and revere what happened, to have reverence for what happened, to reconnect with people, to re-engage with life. That's the purpose of depression. It's
And I'm glad you brought that up, Nick, because 12 years ago, this past July, is when I lost my job of 24 years. And I remember for 2 weeks, my wife would come home, and I'd be laying in bed. Now, that's not me. I like to be going and stay busy. And I remember one day she came home from work, and she finally she had enough. And she's like, I am sick and tired of coming home. You're laying in bed. She goes, you're better than this. So she goes, guess what? You're going to start painting the house. Now, we had just gotten married in May of 2009. I lost my job in July of 2009. So we had gift cards and different things from the wedding. And so we went to Home Depot and found a color she wanted, and I'm like, I ain't painting this freaking house. You know, we're painting the living room. And she goes to work, and one day I'm like, what the hell? So I start moving things and start scraping things. Then filling in some holes in the wall, and I'm like, yeah, I'm done with this. Go lay back down in bed. Next day, gosh, you know what? Okay, well, I started doing it. Well, before I knew it, I'm painting the house. I'm painting the living room. And she's coming home going, oh my gosh, look how much you got done. That's when my light bulb went off, and I started reflecting who I was as a person. I thought I was a damn good person, and I was somewhat.
You are a damn good person.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I tell people the way I used to be, and they look at me and they're like, no way. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you probably wouldn't have liked me. I had a terrible temper. I mean, if I could manipulate you to get what I wanted, I was like an addict. I was really good at manipulating people if I wanted something, instead of doing it in a different way,
Instead of being genuine.
So I started really
it's hard
reflecting.
To picture him something different.
Yeah.
Because he's so good at being who he is now.
I'll be honest. When I first met
Here it comes. Yeah.
When I first met Al at the West Jordan, at the Megaplex is where we first
at
talked.
a networking group, yeah.
And you're around people and stuff, and I'm a pretty analytical person. Like, I don't have a big group of friends stuff because I'm very cautious of who I have in and out of my life, right? And I remember looking at Al, and he said something that triggered me, like, hey, I need to talk to this guy. But, like, observing, I was like, he kind of looked like a dick.
Thanks.
It was...
Well, that's the last time we'll see JD on the show.
No, but, like, again,
Remember JD?
it was just one of those things, like, I felt like, because I didn't obviously know you, but,
Right.
like, the stance you had, and, like, obviously with West Jordan Chambers and stuff, you just seemed, like, the way you were dressed and presented, like one of these businessmen. You got, like, in my head, again, I didn't know you, so, like, this guy's got his shit together. He's probably high up on the food chain. JD's too small down on the food chain, give you the time of day, like, trying to work your business and stuff that you were doing at the time. And so, but, again, that's where, in my head, I'm like, okay, well, the least he can do is tell you to kiss his ass. So let's go see what he's got to say. You know what I mean?
Isn't that interesting? Like the stories we tell ourselves and the judgments, we make a lot of stuff up.
Oh yeah,
Right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
we'll see somebody and then be like, oh, they're this, they're this. We just make this whole story, this narrative up on people and ourselves. Like, oh, they're thinking this about me too, right?
And I was probably not a thought to Al until I went and said hi.
Like, well, this guy's not a dick.
We had talked during the, during
Oh
the
yeah, that's
networking-
what it was because we
during
did
the
our
wet
minute
net.
segments
Yeah.
or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah,
like
Or
I
if,
said,
if he walks up and he says, hey, I'm Al, I'm a dick.
right?
You're like,
Now we know.
oh, yeah, makes sense.
Hey, I was right.
That's right.
But-
See, I
but-
don't want to talk to you now.
One of the benefits of depression, though, is that compassion, because it really humbles you.
Oh yeah.
It brings
Oh, yeah.
you down, and you start to really reflect on, wow, how am I showing up? It's an opportunity.
Yeah.
Because-
Well, and like
yeah.
you said, if you look at yourself in the mirror, and because I started taking that, I started looking at myself in a whole different way. I mean, my wife, we've been together for 15 years. And I don't know how long ago it was, but I think it was when she was really starting to get deep into her alcoholism. But she even told me, she goes, "You've changed." And I'm like, "No, I haven't." And she's like, "No, you've changed, not in a bad way, but you've changed." And to be able to take that and luckily not let it be like a Nightmare on Elm Street where it really frickin' just pulls you in, like you said, the dark part of it, to where you finally have enough energy and hopefully faith in yourself where you can step back and go, okay, wait a minute here, wait a minute. And not knowing even where my journey was going to go, because I had made my mind up, I ain't punching a clock for anybody. Even though it was my mistake, I'm still not punching a clock. But to see where that journey has gone and see who it's made me as a person, because there's times I'll get texts or remarks and I'll be reading it and my wife's like, "Are you crying?" And it's like, yeah, you got to read this, and I mean, you reading it and you're going, holy crap, somebody feels that way about me, and what I'm doing. So for
A
those,
lot of people do, Al.
well, thank you, sir. But to see our guests that come on this show where they have been as low as, I mean, to their point, there's other people that have been lower, but to them, they're rock bottom. And to have people like on your show and listen to some of their stories, where they were able to pull themselves out of that deep depression. And it ain't frickin' easy sometimes, man. I mean, it's like if you've ever been up in the mountains and been around a lake or a swamp or area, and it's one of those times when you step and you got that suction and you're like, oh shit, if I pull my leg out, I'm leaving my shoe behind.
Right.
You know, then what am I going to do? That's what it feels like.
Yeah. I remember daily doing routines like take a cold shower, make your bed. Like the most mundane, simple things just to do something, like you painting the wall.
Yeah.
That's how I got through my depression. And it still comes up, but I move through it a lot quicker now. So the resiliency is there.
I remember using like somebody like Nick who had some tools that I didn't have when I went to work for the company that we were with. All of a sudden, my income significantly went down, and I'm used to being at the top end of the sales food chain, right?
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And so my self-esteem, my worth, my value, everything started to come into question. I'm like, what is wrong with me? You know, Nick would walk past my desk, throw me an energy drink, say, hey, you look like you need to pick me up, and I hate your liver.
I love you, but I hate your liver.
You're like, hey, let's go for a walk. So we'd go hike up a hill, get some blood flow moving, and just talk. And he'd talk me through some things and build in that. That's not how he'd say, I don't see you that way. This is how I see you. And it's like, well, if somebody else sees me that way, then I could start moving into how other people see me. And sometimes that helps as well. It's finding people that can see your giant potential.
Yeah, exactly right.
And
Yeah.
then he would talk to me about it, and then it was still up to me. We talked about a lot of things, and finally Ryan had to make a choice. Okay, here comes the change, and you're up to the edge, and then step into the darkness, step off that ledge, trusting that there's going to be somewhere to land, like on Indiana Jones.
I was
right?
just thinking the same thing. Yeah,
where he goes, conk,
Yeah.
and he's like,
Yeah.
and there's a path, and they grab some sand and he throws it out, and he can see a little bit, of the pathway to get to the chalice or whatever. But in doing that, my life went in a different direction. Our business association stayed the same, but then we were working as coworkers. Now we were not coworkers anymore. There was some fear behind that too, because every day I get to talk to Nick. We get to talk giants and smalls and things that we're doing. Now we have to do it in a different way, but my life got better. I didn't see it happening exactly that way at the beginning, and then Nick said, do it. You can do this. You've got all the tools. Go back and be Ryan the Lion. Go be the guy that I see. Whoop, went back, and my income and everything else has gotten significantly better because of those moments, those dark, challenging times where you don't know, but having the faith to step forward into the darkness.
Well, and having that person basically like goose you along the way, right?
I mean,
seriously. Yeah.
Just to be clear, there was no goosing.
There was no goosing. All right. Okay, nice game.
Yeah, good game.
Nice game. Yeah.
You know, something about it, though, is Lisa Feldman Barrett talks about depression being our internalization and not living up to our own ideals. So we feel depressed when we don't feel like we're living up to our ideals, and we feel anxious when we don't feel like we're living up to the ideals of others, which is all still occurring. And here it's what we've imagined they're thinking, and then we measure ourselves against what we've imagined, and that becomes a measuring point. But here Ryan is thinking maybe that about himself, and I go through phases where I still have that with me, and I have people that I call and talk to and work through it. And Ryan's one of those. And so I know everything about Ryan, and I like him. The
He still likes me.
The challenge is like when Ryan knows everything about Ryan and doesn't like Ryan, or Al knows everything about Al and doesn't like Al. Because any other person, you tell them everything, and they're like, "That's it?
Yeah.
That's what you're worried about?"
How do you learn to love the, we probably need to take a break at some point, Al. We're getting pretty close.
We probably should. But yeah, go ahead and
finish. One of those things is like learning to love the dark parts, learning to love all of you, the
Amen.
shadows, all of the things, the good, the bad, the ugly, as they call it, like everything. Once you can learn how to do that, it changes, opens up everything. You can be the person that you want to be. You can be fully present, and It's amazing.
Yeah.
The freedom that comes from that is
Oh
incredible.
my gosh, there's a Queensryche song where it says it feels like a 2-ton heavy thing. Just
Yeah.
it's like it releases. Because when I started finally opening up and sharing about my wife's alcoholism, I mean, it was like a bulldozer just came and went poof. You know, I'm like, holy cow, I feel light. You know, because I was just so balled up and so wound up with everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once you start sharing and opening up and let others see you inside, because
Nick talks about a flashlight, like shining a light on
That's-
the dark parts. Well, they're not dark anymore. There's no shadow.
There's no
They're there.
shadow.
Yeah.
Immediately too. It's as soon as you put light on it, there's no shadow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's when you love the dark parts, everybody else starts to like you too. You're no longer a dick.
no kidding,
Yeah.
Yeah, you've changed.
No,
Well, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
no longer a dick, Jake.
Hey, I've been there, so it's all good, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So yeah, no, again, it's and going through those things, you know, shining that dark and stuff. Like I think about my sister and that and everything she went through, and we'll go on break right after this. But she died. She passed away. She's 26 years old, and she had an accidental overdose. But prior to that, it was November. I told her, I was like, look, I need to get you help, like whatever I can do. I was like, get in the car, let's go. I was like, I'll take you anywhere. I told her, if you don't change your ways, you're gonna end up dead. And no shit, less than a couple weeks later, she wasn't here anymore. But she battled depression really bad. I mean, to the point, kids bullied her and stuff in school. She was eating her lunch in the bathroom stalls. She was told that she was sleeping with the principal, like they had to be very cautious relations there. And I watched my sister battle this, and me and my sister, she's the one that me and her took on our family when my parents got into drugs. Like I leaned on her, she leaned on me, and I stood really strong to stay away from the opioids. But my sister, she got in such a depressed point because when my mom turned to opioids, like my sister felt like she had to go down that same road because it was the only way she could have a relationship or be accepted from my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And it took her down a very dark path, very paranoid, people watching her, what people thought of her, what people judged. And, you know, she worked on things. She's starting to work on things. Like, I got her set up, so she wanted to do motivational speaking and stuff like some of the videos I've done. And she was starting to turn a leaf. Like, you could see that glimpse of hope.
Yeah.
And, unfortunately, medication just got the best of her.
But you know, like even going through all these things and hearing these stories out, because I've listened to your podcast a lot as well, is that right there is hearing those things and being able to go into somebody's life before it's too late is a huge part of our mission. Being able to take the message of the Giants and the Smalls into elementary schools and talking to kids about their giant potential, and then not just telling them about it, but giving them tools and resources and examples. And then for the adults, like we started this because with the tribe, and then Wake Up with Giants TV, because COVID was happening. We couldn't go into the schools. They were like, nope, you can't come in. So then we started with adults, and we found that adults need it just as much or more than the kids. Life sucks. There's some hard things that come in life. Just happens.
Part of it.
It's part of life.
Yeah.
But you're doing that same type of thing where you guys are sharing a message of hope and inspiration and shining the light into the dark and saying, look, this was me. At one point I was a dick, but not anymore. And learning to love yourself and then find the tools you need to be able to break through that and grow and realize your giant potential. And in doing those things, I mean, my hat's off to you guys, man. You guys
Thank
are
you,
doing an amazing
and
thing.
ours to you guys as well. And well, I'll save this for after break. We'll take a quick break, guys. We'll be right back, and we've got some more good stuff to share with you. So.
Mm-hmm.
How do you start your morning? Start it with a cup of High Point coffee. Because no matter where you go or what you do, it's always better with coffee. High Point Coffee. What's your high point? Located on the corner of 7800 South and Redwood Road in West Jordan. And a special thanks goes out to our partners in Oxford, Mississippi.
This is Gregory, owner of Lift Up Concrete, proudly serving the Wasatch Front for the last 12 years, lifting sunken flatwork for both residential and commercial applications. Only fully trained professionals lifting concrete at your residence with the same quality of material and method used at every commercial job we ever do. Don't replace it, lift it. liftupconcrete.net, 801-792-4535. Contact us at liftupconcrete.net, or if you're looking for a complimentary quote, 801-792-4535. Again, 801-792-4535. Again, this is Gregory, Lift Up Concrete Lifting.
Hello, my friends. This is Brad Neufeld, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the Resilience Talk Network. You can listen to my show, Resilience, every morning, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. On my show, we will be discussing what it takes for you to overcome the day-to-day challenges that all of us face in life, as well as some of the devastating ones that may lead us to feelings of hopelessness and despair. It's my goal to provide you with the tools and skills that you need to overcome anything that is thrown your way. To find out more about my show, visit our website at www.resiliencetalk.com. That's www.resiliencetalk.com. And as always, until we meet again, go for everything that you want in life and make it happen.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Other Side of Addiction. Hey, we had some really good stuff the first part of the show, some really, really good stuff, and I'm excited to see where the second part goes. But before we get started, we've got to thank our sponsors, because without our sponsors, none of this would be going on right now. So High Point Coffee in West Jordan off 7800 South in Redwood. Steve, love you, buddy. Thank you for everything that you've done.
Coffee.
Yeah, thank you for your love, your kindness, your support. My buddy Gregory and his beautiful wife Tosh, owners of Lift Up Concrete out of Kaysville. Guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. We've got Brad over at Surf Pro West Jordan, but we want to thank all the surf pros from Ogden all the way down to St. George. We also have USARA. So USARA is the Utah Support Advocates for Recovery Awareness. Thank you guys for believing in our cause and what we're doing. Gosh, the list just keeps going. Computer Hospital, love those guys. They're off of like about 8800 South in State. Guys, if you got issues with your computer, that is a place that you can go that they will give you an honest assessment. They will not rip you off. These guys are so flippin' honest. I had issues with my computer, took it in, thought my computer was shot. Kevin, the owner, he's like, dude, all you need is just a different plug that's a bigger battery. It'll help keep you going. I mean, they could have tried to sell me a new computer, but instead cost me $25 to buy a new plug for it. Nice. Also, Refiner Production, Cameron and Austin, you guys are incredible. The videos that you did for me are just, my wife says this is my favorite word. They're just phenomenal. I mean, you guys did such a great job. Plus, they're the ones that do the High Point Coffee commercial that you see during our show. And one of our newest sponsors, Taffy Town. Taffy Town is a 100-year-old company here in Salt Lake.
Yeah, they are.
100-year-old company. They used to be like right off of 8 South, right off the freeway there. But guys, thank you so much for your support. We couldn't do this without you guys. We love you. I do my best to make sure you guys are getting as much notice as possible because you deserve every single bit of it. So anyway, before we went on our break, we were talking, Ryan was mentioning even like tools, and we were talking about depression. Nick brought up the depression. I don't think a lot of people realize they don't have to go through this alone. And some of these people don't have the means to hire somebody or have the insurance to go get a therapist or a counselor or whatever it may be. But there are other means out there. I mean, I sent a young lady to the Tribe of Giants because to me, I know what her financial, she shared it with me, and I'm not going to share it with anybody else, but to me, that was a great place to send her because there are so many people that have been on your show. For me, even when I was going through my depression, it was my wife kind of like kicking me in the butt. Nick, you kind of did the same thing. You just kind of started taking these baby steps. I started changing my morning routine. Matter of fact, I didn't even have a morning routine other than starting the coffee and drinking a coffee and having a cigarette before I took off to work. Changing little teeny baby habits. I mean, even if you're shuffling your feet, doesn't even have to be a step, but if you shuffle that foot forward, that second foot has to go forward too, right? So there's so many tools out there if people just search. You don't have to go through this by yourself. And if you're not comfortable with family and different things like that because you don't like the advice that they give you, gosh.
Sometimes family is the worst for advice.
Well, it can, and they don't.
Depends on the members.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And it's not that they mean harm. They're trying to do their best. I mean, it's like me when my wife was battling her alcoholism. I had somebody tell me once, so the stuff that you've been doing, how did it work out for you? I'm like, it didn't work out worth shit. I tried it for 7 years and nothing changed. Literally, it didn't change. But that's all I knew. Certain programs didn't work for me. It just didn't work for me. They've helped other people, but it just wasn't a fit for me. I had to find what I needed to find to be a fit. And I think with depression, depression leads to addiction and leads to suicide and so many other things, health issues. Oh my gosh, you can destroy your health in a very short period of time when you're dealing with depression and stress and all that. But
it'll manifest things that don't need to be there.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you brought up the tools, Ryan, because there are so many tools. And one of the reasons why you guys started the League of Giants, right?
Yeah.
Is a tool, a place for people to go to look for help or just inspiration.
I'll tell you like a little tool, like I've learned from Nick, because Nick can be a big tool.
I'm a bit of a tool.
He's not a tool at all.
Gosh, I wish JD would have called me a tool instead of a... It's still a four-letter
It's the same
word.
thing, right?
You know what's interesting is like Nick will get up in the morning, first thing he'll make his bed, because it's a little tiny thing where he can pull up the covers, make it look presentable, place the pillows, and it's an accomplishment. It's getting something accomplished right out of the gate. And maybe Nick, you can go into the science of the brain and all the things.
Let's go fractal. That's
Yes.
my favorite
Okay,
F word,
fractal.
right?
Yeah.
Outside of the other F word that we can't say on this show.
Brad turns
So,
around like,
yeah,
wait, no.
Wait.
He's getting ready.
Sorry.
He's on the
Dives-
bleep button,
Yeah,
right?
he's like ready.
Dives over the table.
Yeah.
We'll clean this up.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
out of here. Fractals, Mandelbrot. Mandelbrot talks about the simple equation that when repeated creates complexity in our lives. And like you painting the walls, that simple step was enough to create another step and another step. You look at every plant that ever existed started with small steps and then repeating patterns that are self-similar. Your days look a lot like the last day. But over time, there's that expansion and growth that occurs in that fractal pattern. You look at Romanoff broccoli. It's something that you can eat, but there's all these little patterns that are repeated. It's beautiful. It's artwork. But over time, it creates this complexity. It's in river systems. It's in our circulatory system. It's in our highways, in our network systems. And there are all these little branchings and bifurcations that create complexity in our lives. But we look at goals when we're setting a goal of I want to change in a straight line, in a linear fashion like humans do. We'll bust through mountains to reach a straight line. Humans are the only creatures that create straight lines.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Everything,
Weird.
People are weird. So, Charles Darwin, he says that it's not the survival of the fittest, it's the survival of those that are adapting to change. Einstein said the same thing. It's our ability to adapt and change by which intelligence should be measured, not by what we know. It's our ability to change.
Yeah.
And so when we're looking at change, depression feels like there's no possibility of change. So you get into that depressed state, and you want to stay there, and you get spun down, and it feels like I'm going to be here forever. But depression is the seed of change. That's the darkness where change occurs. And so if people can write it out, just don't take your life while in depression. The biggest thing, the best question that you can ask somebody if they're in a depressed state is, are you thinking of suicide? Are you thinking of taking your life? I had somebody that went through some coursework around it, and they said that 80% reduction in suicide attempt from that one simple question. I'll ask my kids, how are you doing? Are you having thoughts of suicide? It doesn't put it in their head that they're going to go take their life. It gets us into conversation. I'm doing good, Dad. Yep, no thoughts of that. Doing well.
Wow.
We're able to talk through it. So when you're in that depressed state, that state where you're just feeling like there's no way out, that's your seed for change. That's your time to step out, take those small steps, the shuffle,
Yeah.
and let it get complex over time, because you're going to spiral up and out from that.
And that's a really good point, because we touched on it a little bit earlier on the first half with Jason, who was on the show, out of town, pulls up on a bridge. He's thinking about jumping off this bridge, and he's like, he stops himself and he's like, there's got to be a way to fix this problem. There's got to be a way. This is not the way to do it. And he found that way. It took some support of his wife, of course, and praying. He talks about how him and his wife knelt down in the hotel room and was praying, and he's like, that is like one of the first times. This guy went on a mission and everything, but it's like he just felt it. He just knew that was the time, that it's just that change. You don't have to go forward.
You've got the book sitting there.
Yeah. Right here.
That journey, when we talk about the Giants journey, it's all internal. It's not about people outside of you. It's not in groups and out groups. It's an internal journey from feeling small to feeling giant.
Yeah.
And when the giant sets him on the ground, he says, I'll teach you, but becoming a giant is up to you. And he sets him on the ground, he walks away, and the giant is taking giant steps. And Rick can't keep up. He's sprinting, he's running, he's dodging, he's diving, he's jumping to keep up because he's so small. He's like, you left me. He's like, I didn't leave you. You came. That's a giant thing to do. You kept up. A small would have gone home and left or stayed where I put them. But the thing is the giant wasn't taking giant steps. He was taking small steps. He's just a giant. He's just bigger. Mm-hmm. So as you increase in capacity, as you grow, you're able to take small steps still, but your capacity is increased. So you're able to do more. No difference.
No, there
is
no
fractaled
difference.
out. It's just, it's scaled, just like life.
Yeah. Well, it's just, think of it like a bike. You've got the road bikes where we're coming up on our 40th high school reunion. Well, I was part of the committee on the 35th.
You're
and
old.
Thanks. That's what my wife calls me as well. But we meet on a Jordan Trail, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna meet
I was
meet
wondering
up."
why you're coughing up dust.
Yeah, that's why. And it's
I just turned
sawdust.
40.
58. But we meet up on a trail to go bike riding. So I show up and I started loading my bike, and I'm like, frick, all these guys got like these fancy road bikes, and I'm pulling mine out of the truck, and it's a mountain bike. So we get on the trail. I'm the only one with the mountain bike, and one of the gals that was on the committee, she does one or two pedals and then just sits there, and she's talking to me, and I'm just pedaling my ass off, and there's this hill. Well, they kind of go up this hill, and I'm over there just, so it's kind of that same way. Their wheels are different. It's just less work for them to get further. I'm still getting the same destination they're getting to, but I'm just having to work my ass off to get there. So it's the same like with and if you look at life, it's some people compare it like you just said, they're being left behind. They're not being left behind. As long as they're still moving forward, they're still moving forward, right? And as you get going, I mean, as the speed gets going, pretty soon you're going faster and faster and faster.
Yeah.
So
At any point in time, too, the small in the story had an opportunity to stop
mhm.
or turn around. The difference there, it's a slight, subtle difference, was that he kept going.
Yeah.
And it eventually caught back up to the giant, because the giant's, like, got to where he was going, and then the small got to that same place. Took a little longer, but he learned some things through that. The giant was trying to teach him some life lessons, those exact life lessons.
Yeah.
I could have written it a little different. Like he
Now,
stops.
why didn't you? He stopped, turned around.
The Good
This
Enough.
isn't worth
Yeah.
it. Deuces.
The book called Good Enough. The Good Enough book.
The Good Enough
Yeah.
book. Well,
Almost made it.
Yeah.
Almost made it.
I like it
Not
too
for me.
because
Yeah.
I like how the other Smalls was telling him that, oh, you'll never be a giant. You're not meant to be a giant.
That happens. Maybe not quite as direct
Yeah.
in life, right? The judgments.
Yeah.
The family. I just mentioned family before, right? Because they want to keep us safe.
Yeah.
And they want to protect us.
Yeah.
They want to. They love us so much that they want to keep us from any outside stretch or growth or harm, fear, doubt, worry, all those things. But inside of all of doubt, fear, worry, change is growth. Like
That's exactly
right on that
right.
other side. You
Yeah.
got to go through the fear to get to the growth.
I think a lot of people fear that, honestly. I think people are afraid of what it can do or what they
Fear
could
of
become
They
or
are.
what they could lose.
Right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like being in my parents all the time, or my mom and my biological dad. There's times and stuff they don't understand why I go out and do what I do as far as sales or, being more trying to work entrepreneur, doing this, being here on the radio or
Mhm.
and trying to expand, trying to grow. And I'm like, you guys, like, I love you, but you'll never understand because you're not willing to. You got to step back
Take
and look
that
at it. They're
step.
like, why don't you go? They're like, go drive up at Kennecott, go work up there, go be a cop or, a mechanic and stuff.
I
And they're
have
like,
some thoughts around that,
You know?
because you're not interacting with them, you're interacting with their small, who they're being in that case. And it's like
Right.
their way of being is showing up, and then they're putting that out there and expressing who they're being on you,
exactly.
which you still have that say of who you're going to be,
Mhm.
regardless of that. And so the story, again, it's not about them being wrong or right, it's just how they're showing up and who they're being.
Right.
And so that's
Nothing
how,
wrong with being the cop or the Kennecott driver.
Right.
It's that's not for JD.
Right.
Right.
They see it as a stability,
Right,
like
that's
having
it.
that's what they understand.
Yeah.
Where obviously being in sales, you guys know how that
Yeah,
roller coaster
yeah.
goes, right?
Boy, do I.
But
but you're bumping up against their fears.
right.
Right, and so their fears are showing up. Like they would never do that for them because they're afraid.
I've been knocking doors for 8 years, and if I asked them to knock on a door, they would have a heart attack. I still have a heart attack from going out and doing my job. Like I do
Yep.
not like knocking doors, but nonetheless, I know that's what generates my income. Or like I'm the guy that I can go create an income from complete scratch. You know what I mean? And like being able to have that ability,
Yeah.
is huge. And I'm like, like you guys get down on me for doing this. I was like, just go give it a shot. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. See how far you'll go.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, one block. That's it.
Yeah.
You're done. That's your life.
one door.
Yeah.
We got a book for that. It's
Yeah,
called
we
the Good
got-
Enough book.
The Good
Yeah,
Enough
the good enough book. Almost made it. Yeah.
Oh, I tried that once book.
Yeah.
So, but
I love it.
it's just but it's also too one of those things that's given me the skills to. Every time it's like still is today, if I went out and did my job and knocked on a door right now, like I always have high anxiety, like of it, because one, depending on your area, depending on the people, you might get douchebag Dan behind the other side, like dealing with all that crap.
Douchebag Dan.
Yeah,
That guy.
yeah, he's in every sales side
Yeah,
of it. You'll
pretty
get the guy
much.
that comes in and at
Yeah.
RV and he's like, I don't like the way that sink's sitting.
Yeah,
That's
you're
and you're like, I didn't
Douchebag
have-
Dan.
I
yeah.
didn't know he had a name. That's
I'm
perfect.
going to use that.
yeah,
I had-
he's out
I,
there.
had a guy
have
once.
Dan out there on the lot.
Hey, John, go take care of him.
I had a guy once when I was
I got a
working for
referral for you.
when I was working for the West Jordan Chamber. I was out visiting businesses and walked in, and this guy comes up and he's like, "Yeah, can I help you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm the business director for the West Jordan Chamber of Commerce." And I handed him my card, and he looked at my card and he threw my card in the garbage right in front of me. And that didn't go very well with me. And as
Was his name
professional
Dan?
as I think it was actually. DD.
Right?
Yeah, but as professional as I am, I wasn't professional. I gave that guy a piece of my freaking mind. And I'm like, look, if you're not interested, just tell me you're interested. Don't throw my damn card in the garbage in front of me. And I reached in and grabbed him. So I had to go back to the chamber and tell the president, I'm like, hey, you're probably going to get a phone call. But I just freaked out on douchebag Dan, you know. And she's like, why? What happened? And I told her, and she's like, don't worry about it. But
I told you.
every once in a while, I pull it out of my back pocket or my front pocket. But yeah. So, but you know, one thing I like what you guys are doing right now. You guys are out visiting a lot of schools. You know, I've been seeing it posted up there on your guys' site.
You know how politicians have the photo ops, and
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
really what it is.
Oh,
That's right.
No,
We got a guy like Brad
Yeah.
on the backside, right? That's like
changing
Yeah.
things around.
No,
He's,
they
he's
are-
got,
look
he's
like we're
hitting
there.
the button that's applaud.
Golf clap.
right.
But I like what you guys are doing there because JD brought it up, and I can't remember, one of you guys brought it up, but my wife was the same. She was bullied when she was a little girl. She was picked on all the time. Her siblings picked on her all the time. As she got older, the bullying got more, started getting into the wrong relationships where she was told she was worthless. That got her into depression, and that's kind of what built up to the alcoholism. That's one of the things that, as my speaking career starts growing, that I want to share in schools. By guys, you know, if you're out there bullying somebody, you don't realize what you're doing to that person, because they may have crap at home as well where you're just adding on top of that. And my wife for years felt like she's just worthless. I mean, even for years after we got married, she worked her ass off to self-sabotage our marriage, because she's like, well, he's going to leave anyway, you know, so I might as well help push him out the door, you know. And I think that's even when she read your book, that got her thinking. And I love that you guys are going out there, because even though it was kind of basically written for adults, but to make these kids realize there's nothing wrong with you. And some of these kids probably have a crappy home life.
They do.
The things have changed since I grew up. You know, I've got a friend that works out at Copper Hills High School. We've known each other since elementary. And I was out there, I don't know, quite a few years ago, and she was showing me the principal pantry. And she was telling me how many kids go hungry. She's like, oh man, what did we do when we got home from school? I'm like, hell, first thing I did was raid the fridge. These kids don't have that. You know, so their home life is not the best. And then if they look different or dress differently at school, then they're getting more crap thrown on them. Where what I love about the Giant and the Smalls is those people who are being teased and picked on and bullied, they're making themselves as small as possible. They don't even want to be seen. They hide. They go into the restroom to eat their lunch. Hell, man, this shit's got to stop.
With that, I gotta
You know?
ask, and I mean, you guys' experience dealing with, you know, kids and talking to kids and stuff, and obviously on the bullying subject too. This is something like stepping back and looking at the whole picture. Obviously, bullying is not okay, right? Obviously, like that child's probably already got some heavy crap going on at home or in his personal life or her personal life. Also, too, stemming back, do you feel like people or kids that become bullies, it stemmed because of something else that they've got going on in the background as well?
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, I
yeah.
think so.
I don't feel like a kid's just a bully
Yeah.
to be a bully. I mean, the examples that are set to him, you know, peer pressure, different things like that, but he might have things
They're
going
going
sideways
through it
at
as
home
well. Yeah.
and being
Yep.
directed that way, you know. And
So tomorrow night I've got a course that I'm teaching at 7:30. It'll
Okay.
be live, it'll be online. And it goes through all of the 12 journeys that the Giant goes through. And one of the topics in there is the tree of change. And Ryan will know this. But the root system of our trees, if we were a tree as a metaphor, the root system are the value systems that were established in childhood, because up until the age of 25, our brains are in development. And so that prefrontal cortex that's developing stems from whatever was taught Our brains are wired to carry forward the culture that we're in, whatever that culture is when we're born. So that root system comes up, and that becomes the value base for everything that we do. So if a kid is bullied at home or sexually abused at home or traumatized at home, that's going to lay the foundation for the value system for that child moving forward, because that brain is going to develop around that and wire
the
for that.
decisions are going to be based now from that.
So what we're trying to do is take that value system and rewrite it, because you have the ability. The brain is plastic. It means it can rewire itself
Yeah.
at any point through life. You never stop growing new neurons until the age you die, until you die. And so up until then, you have a chance to recreate it, rewire it, and move those paths. So even though you were taught that, and that's your culture, you can create new values. And then those values establish your beliefs, and you can rewrite those beliefs. Two people might hold the same values. I use the example of money as an example because it's easy. But one person might believe that money is easy to come across, and another might say it's hard.
Yeah.
It's scarce.
Yeah.
But it's the same value. So the beliefs kind of dictate what we perceive in the world, and the thoughts that we think and what we draw in as proof of that. And then that creates our affect, and then that affect goes out and influences how we show up and how we behave and speak to the world. When we're creating in our worlds, we're predicting what's going to happen. So prediction is to pre-say what you think is going to happen. So we predict it. So if you split that word up, we predict it. And so it's not the dick
What did you
that
just
you're
call
talking about. So,
Dang,
yeah.
I'm not going to live that down now, JT.
They're going to have to edit this
Hey,
whole show.
I was
We have like 1 minute.
predicting
Yeah.
what I was dealing with, all right?
Yeah, got it.
So anyway, you speak from that space, you act from that space. It creates your reality, it creates your habits, it confirms what you hold as truth, and it gets you stuck in a cycle, and that
Yeah.
can be shifted. And so that's where our opportunity is to show them you're not stuck with what you came with or what was programmed in.
Amen.
And it doesn't matter how old you are at any point on this path. And we've got people that are 59 years old, 60 years old writing their first books. There's no limit to
No.
age. There's no limit based on what you believe, your religion, your sexual orientation, whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. What matters is you recognize that you have the potential to change that. We all, as humans, have 86 billion neurons across the board, pretty close to that. We
Same
all have
brain as
glial
Einstein.
cells. Yeah. So the only difference is what we choose to believe and act on. And so that's where this book really opens people up. We went to an event, if I can ramble for a minute.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll hear this and we'll stop for another quick
interrupt
break.
me. Yeah, interrupt me at any point. So we went down to an event. It was a Liberty event, and pretty polarized as far as views go. There were people that are getting up and they're angry about what's going on and how their view is being attacked, and so they're protecting it. And so there's this anger that's how we create change. It's through anger, right? And so I follow up with who went before me with the book, and we read the book and we talk about the principles from the book, and there was a complete shift of energy in that group. Not only did they see solutions to their problem, but they saw a way to do it without violence, without anger, without polarization. And we sold out of books at the event.
Wow.
Sold out of books.
God knows we need that across the world right now, honestly.
Absolutely.
There's this moment like going into schools, and you can pick back up to it. I'll be
No, I'm
quick,
good. I feel complete.
Yeah, with
Yeah. You complete me. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Hey, we're
There's
going
this-
into business
yeah,
together.
yeah, we're going into
We should work
business
together.
He's already planting the seeds.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He just snuck that into this microphone.
Hey, I got a good idea.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, I love it. I think it's great. When do you guys want me to start?
He knows how it works. Yeah.
Leading the witness. So here's something interesting, Al, too. So like with addiction, there's a point where you become an addict. Like there's a point where you choose to start drinking or start doing drugs or whatever. We want to catch them before that point in time too, and be able to help those kids to be able to realize their giant potential. That there's other ways to deal with life,
Yeah.
the things in their life other than drugs, sex,
Eating
addiction,
or
eating,
gambling,
food.
whatever it may be.
And the anxieties, the depression, the things that come up inside of all of that. Okay, what are the tools, right? We found as we went into schools, and it was I'm gonna get emotional too. it was kind of sad because we started out with 5th graders and they were engaging and fun, but because there was comprehension. But they would look around the room when we'd ask them questions about who feels like they're a giant, and maybe like 3 or 4 hands would go up. And you had the one kid that was a literal giant that's like 6'4" with facial hair in 5th grade.
Yeah, second grade.
That was like really young.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, Bertha's a giant," and she stands up, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Actually, that's not wrong.
That they did that. Yeah, this girl
That's a literal giant.
literally tall, like really tall. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm a giant." But they didn't understand the meaning. We then would talk to them about what it meant to be a giant. And at the end of this, of Nick going into the presentation, talking to them about being a giant, he would ask them again, who feels like a giant? And almost every hand would go up, if not all of the hands, which was awesome to help them realize that. But there's this, the first kindergarten, 1st graders, they're just like the story. They start getting into 3rd, 4th grade, they get it. And that was kind of the sweet spot almost, where that 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th, where it wasn't quite the judgments of others had set in, or the judgments of themselves. There wasn't as many, in the 3rd, 4th grade as there were in the 5th, 6th grade, where life just gets them. The things that they're going through at home, bullies, or even kids that don't necessarily mean to be a bully, but there's the judgment of, why are you dancing like that? Why do you paint your fingernails or your toenails? You're a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you like this stuff? Why do you talk this way? Why do you dress this way? Why are you laughing at that? Why are you, just being who you are? And so they start being who they think everyone thinks they should be.
Yeah.
And if we can correct that, I don't know the proper word, because
redirect.
Redirect. Yeah, that's a good
better
way
word.
of putting it. Yeah.
Or breathe. We almost like breathe some life back into that childhood imagination of who they could be, or who they can be, and just, you can be, do, or have anything that you want.
Yeah.
To see that change and that spark in kids come light up again. I went into the house the other day, and I have twin 9-year-old boys, and one of my boys loves soccer and sports and all this stuff. The other one doesn't. He likes to dance. He likes to do he paints his fingernails with his sisters because he thinks it's cool. He's more artistic, right? I walk in and he's like this close to a 75-inch TV, and he's got YouTube on or something, or a documentary of Ariana Grande of all people.
Oh.
Right? I don't think Ariana Grande is the best role model. She is a heck of a dancer.
Uh-huh.
And he's like it's almost Ariana Grande's life size, and he's doing these moves just like Ariana Grande. And I stand back and I'm like, wow, that's impressive. And he turns and he sees me, and he catches that I'm watching him, right, observing him. And so then he all of a sudden shuts down and isn't doing it anymore. I was like, whoa, bud, like, stop, like, what? Come here. Why did you stop? Well, I didn't think, I don't know if I was doing a good job. He starts in on all this stuff, like,
yeah.
I'm dancing to Ariana Grande, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dude, so what? Do it again. You were doing a great job. Like, I'm going back to, but it was the judgment that he had. I could tell instantly
that he made on himself.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. That, hey, I'm being observed a certain way, and so how are other, I was gonna say coworkers, how are other kids at school viewing him, or we perceive that they're viewing us, and if we can go into schools and help them with that thought process. It's okay to be you.
Yeah.
Well, the instant you talked about shedding that weight, right? When shining the light in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Like we learn those judgments at a pretty early age. If we can shine the light on who we are and be okay with it, holy smokes. I had that same thing, but at 40 years old, of all of the judgments that I had made about myself, and the judgments that I thought others were making.
And then obligating others to live by our judgments.
Right.
Yeah.
Intolerance.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's something we've really tried to avoid in the group is to create it in a way where you're safe bringing whatever you have into it, whatever your religious view is, whatever your political view is, whatever your sexual orientation is, it doesn't matter. You come into the tribe and you feel like there's this platform to just be you, right? And hold space for that.
Yeah.
What we run into, and this is the biggest challenge we face as we grow, is the intolerance of that you need to have standards, you've got to have direction, you've got to
It has
move
to
it
look a
this
certain
way.
way. Well, then that's
Or
the judgments, right?
what would
Yeah.
people say if they saw this? And the whole thing that's created the tribe of giants is not that. It's the idea that you are you. The book is written around giants being giants, whoever they are, whatever their background is.
Exactly right. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's not about race, religion, culture, any of that. And so that's been the biggest challenge, is the sanitizing, right, of the message. Like, let's create standards for the message. Let's create rules. That's what humans do, is we create rules. Jesus comes along, he says, I got 2 rules: love each other, love God. Right? And everybody's like, that's too easy.
Yeah, let's
gonna
let's
make
make
more
some more.
Yeah.
Let's get the government involved.
Right.
They'll do it great.
Let's get the IRS code on
Yeah.
it. Let's pay taxes. Okay, we need 80,000 pages or whatever it is,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Oh, double tax for me, please. Yeah.
So just simplicity. The simple message is, you are a giant. You have that already within you. You have
Yeah.
everything that you need for that capacity to be developed. All you need to do is believe it and step into it. Like, there's a stupid song I send around. It says, ain't nothing to it but to do it. It's this dude dancing this weird dance, and it's kind of creepy.
It's like,
It's
just
disturbing.
do it. And you're like, you start having these
But the
judgments,
song.
but then you're like, wait. He's just being.
Yeah.
It's like, so the whole movement was like, there was this YouTube video of a concert, and this one guy, he gets up and he's just like dancing, he's doing these weird moves, he's just going to town like to the beat of his own drum, right? And all of a sudden, and everybody's like, what is that guy doing? They'll start filming him. Like, who is this guy?
That guy's
The music's
weird.
not even playing yet.
Right.
Who is this guy? What is he doing? And then all of a sudden, another guy comes over, and he starts doing weird dances, just like, and doing him, just being him. And then another, and then another, and then another. And all of a sudden, the mass just, like, everybody starts
Just
dancing.
snowballs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's,
At any point, could you imagine if that guy stopped and saw the camera and said, man, I wonder if I'm being judged? It would change the whole energy.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I've been guilty of that, where I look out and I'm feeling I might be judged. I have this judgment of being judged, and then I change the way I be,
Yeah.
and it changes the whole dynamic. Like, that whole story could have had a different outcome if he would have felt judged and turned how he
Instead,
showed up.
he just
He
did
didn't
what
give a
he.
shit.
Yeah, he did him
Yep.
basically.
I know
yeah.
that this message, so like as we went into, we got to teach 300 teachers. These are special ed teachers. These are the teachers that not only do they have to teach the as much as the curriculum and all this stuff, but they have all the other challenges that come inside of the challenge of the special ed, child.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever things they have to also manage, right? Which could be a lot of weight on that teacher. We went through the principles of the book, talked to them about how they can be a giant, how they can see them differently, and help even the families see their kids as giants and differently. That there are the possibilities that maybe this kid could walk, maybe he can do all these things. There's endless possibilities.
They changed their whole policy from yes or no questions to yes and not yet questions.
Yes,
Oh, I
and not
love
yet.
it.
Yep. So
That is-
they're rather than
yeah.
their ability of yes they can do this or no they can't, they changed it to yes and no they can't yet, and they changed the whole policy right there in
Just
that
adding
program.
yet.
I love that.
Can't do that yet.
That is great. That's like, I mean, I think we got to stop for another quick
Yep.
break. Yeah, we got to hurry and stop
Hey,
for a
with
quick
that,
break.
I
but-
do have to. I'm sorry, my bladder hit one of those points.
Yeah.
It's like
Got right
over
there.
here floating, then.
Scene.
All right, guys, we're gonna stop for a quick break, and then we will come back real quick and finish this up.
Hi, this is Tamara K. Anderson, and I want to share something special with you. When our son Nathan was diagnosed with autism, I felt like the life we had expected for him was ripped away, and with it, my own heart shattered as well. It's very common for families to feel anger, pain, confusion, and anxiety when a child is diagnosed. This is where my book, Normal for Me, comes into play. It shares my story of learning to replace my pain with acceptance, peace, joy, and hope. Normal for Me has helped change many lives, and I'd like to give this book to as many families as possible. We've put together something I think is really special. My friends and listeners can order copies of my book at a significantly discounted price, and we will send them to families who have just had a child diagnosed with autism or another special needs diagnosis. We will put your name inside the cover so they will know someone out there loves them and wants to help. I will also sign each copy. You can order as little as one or as many as hundreds to be shared with others. So go to my website, TamaraKAnderson.com, and visit the store section for more information and to place your order. You can bless the lives of many families by sending them hope, love, and peace. Check it out today at TamaraKAnderson.com and help me spread hope to the world.
Welcome to the Resilience Talk Network. My name is Jay Walter, and I'm the host of Rebuilding. Heard every weekday night from 6 to 7 p.m. You can listen in and learn how to face your fears, overcome obstacles, and make dreams a reality. So listen every weekday night from 6 to 7 p.m. right here on the Resilience Talk Network.
All right, hey guys, welcome back to the other side of addiction, man. We've had a great show so far, and before we move forward, again, we've got more sponsors we want to thank. So we want to thank I Am Power Ninja Real Estate, my friend Troy over there. Thank you so much. We've got Fitness Realty. We got TJ McClelland. We've already said Computer Hospital. Oh, another one of our big ones is Advanced Business Book, which is bookkeeping.
How do we throw in on this right now so we get sponsored?
Yeah, like
Yeah, I got money.
I don't know. Let's talk after the show because yeah, we would love to have you. We're actually got a few more people that are looking at wanting to support us, and again, we just want to give a huge shout out to Brad, also Brad Newfield and Resilience Talk Network.
Yeah, Brad, thank you.
Because we wouldn't have this awesome studio that we're still waiting to redecorate. That's why the wall is still blank. I feel like one of those weathermen that
You are.
I can just point right here. But yeah, hopefully this weekend we'll have our new wall up. But Brad, thank you so much.
Brad, thank you for setting the audio settings so that our
Yeah.
voices sound.
You sound amazing. Thanks.
Sound great.
Welcome to the Giants.
I need one of these in my bedroom.
Right?
Yeah,
A
well, we
little
won't
Barry
go
White.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, little Barry White. Yeah. Hey, baby. So, guys, yeah, thank you. And thank you to all our listeners. You guys are huge supporters. And, I mean, still, every week I'm getting messages, whether it's through text, Messenger, Facebook, or whatever. And I think, JD, you're seeing a lot of these. Brad and I was just talking about it during the break. But, guys, I'm going to do my best not to get emotional. Thank you so much for your support, for believing in what our cause is. I mean, the stigma that's out there about addiction, it's time it stops. And we're talking all addiction, just not drugs and alcohol. So it's time we put a stop to it, and that's what this whole show is about. So Nick and Ryan, again, thank you guys for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We were talking about, you said, Nick, that we can choose to rewire our brains at any time. Ryan's talking about how you guys are help teaching the kids to realize their potential. I love that the way that you said it, that we can just kind of rewire. We can unplug it and plug it into another circuit. And I know that's a true thing because I went to an event quite a few years ago, and they had everybody get up, move their chairs, and we all stood in a circle. And the lady said, I want you to draw an imaginary circle in front of you. And she goes, when I count to 3, I want you to think of something that really gets you angry as soon as you step into that circle. So we did exactly what she said. When she said, okay, everybody step out of the circle, open your eyes. And if you looked around the room, and she asked everybody to look around the room, you saw people crying, you saw people with their fists clenched, you saw people with their jaws clenched, and you could see people were ticked or hurt or upset. And she goes, okay, we're going to do the same exercise again. But she goes, this time when I tell you to step in the circle, I want you to think of something that makes you extremely happy. And so we went through that same cycle again. After so long, she had to step out. We opened our eyes, and you look around the room, and everybody had a smile on their face. Some people were crying, but they were the happy tears. You could see it was happy tears. She said exactly what you just said, Nick. She goes, that's how fast you can change whatever's going on. If you think you're having a bad day, draw that circle.
Yeah.
Close your eyes and step into it and think of something that makes you happy. And I used that for a long time, because when I was really going through some bad crap, I had pictures of my grandkids on my phone, and that was my circle. I would pull up the picture of those grandkids and go, okay, this is what life's about. Not the bull crap that I'm going through. That's just part of life. This is what life's all about. So I love how you brought that up.
If you're good, this will be way off track here.
Okay.
But every morning I have my creation of who I'm creating myself to be, and I've got it memorized. And the greatest opportunity for growth is not where we're being something, but where we're not. And so this is a reminder for me where I'm not what I say I'm creating myself as. So as I go through this, I'll speak it, but you speak yourself, you're creating always. You're either doing it unconsciously or consciously.
Yeah.
So this is who I create myself as, and this is my declaration. So I'm going to do it. Take about a minute, if that's okay.
Yeah, please do. Yeah.
So I am giant. I am the mystical giant. I am Samanic action. I am grateful in my highs and graceful in my lows. I am the infinite knowledge and abundance flow through me. I'm a powerful, inspiring, and confident leader and teacher. I am confident in any situation and with any person. I am that no one is worthy of my judgment, only my love. I forgive myself for my judgments. I am loving kindness. I am that I create as much money as I want whenever I want, easily and effortlessly. Peace is my birthright. I am that my relationships are fulfilling, loving, and easy. I am my word. I do my best to do my best. I live every moment to the fullest. No one is more committed than I am. I am that I can create anything I imagine. I am that one with the universe, and all that the universe has is mine to serve my needs, my wants, and my desires, and those are the people I serve. I am exactly where I'm supposed to be, but only always. My timing is always perfect, and my mother named me Nicholas Townsend Smith.
Wow. That's powerful.
Yeah, I need to write that down.
No kidding. I would like to count how many I ams that you had in there, because I've stated that many times. Those are two extremely powerful words.
They're creative words.
I am. Yeah.
You are creating yourself, or you're being created. You're things to act and things to be acted upon. Don't be the second.
Yeah.
It's like that right there. Things happen to you or for you. It's up to you.
Yeah.
Well, you can't see it here too. Nick has painted toenails.
I seen that actually.
And he's got a cross on his big toenail. It's an X, and on that X, so his brother gave him a rock. Do you have that with you?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's weird.
Yeah,
that's coincidental.
That's weird.
Hey, look at this. I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but it's a piece of, like, I think it's quartz.
It's quartz, and I don't know what the
and
dark
I don't know
rock
what the outside rock is, but
that is
there's
so
a quartz
cool.
X. And Nick, you tell them about like exactly what that means.
Well,
the symbolism,
the meaning that was given to it, which I carry. So I carry this everywhere I go. It's on my truck. It's on my toes.
Yeah.
Right. Is you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and that's it. Essentially, my brother handed me this, and he said I used to carry this around as a reminder. I found this rock with this X in it, and it was his. And he gave it to me as a gift. He said, just remember, wherever you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. And so it's just that reminder. I'm always where I'm supposed to be, wherever I'm at, whatever I'm going through. There's a purpose in it. I can find it. I can create it. Purposes are created.
Yeah.
So I'll just make something up. If I'm not feeling it, I'll make something up. We give the meaning. Just like this rock.
Right.
We gave it meaning. What's on my toes, I gave it meaning. You chose whether to believe that for you. It's
That's the power that can come from going into the schools and teaching those kids that they have the power. It's inside them already. You want to be something. we ask him. Nick will say, no, I don't ask him. Nick's usually the one that's presenting, and I'm just smiling and waving and having a great time. But he'll ask them what they want to be when they grow up, or what what they, and some of them are already starting to be that. One person was like, I'm going to be president of the United States. Like, it was already happening. Like, it was already, they were the president. And I believed him. I was like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
It was a girl. And she was like, I'm going to be president of the United States. And we're like, okay. And we believed her. And she believed herself. There's other kids who were talking about, like, being pro skaters and people that, like, work with, wildlife and sea life and all that stuff. Like, I was just blown away. Like, some of these kids really did know they wanted to be something. When I was a kid, I was like, I want to be an astronaut, until I figured out, or I want to be a cop, until they figured out they get shot at and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, I'm good. Yeah. And their pay isn't great.
Yeah.
I want to do something a little. I want to be more like JD when I grew up and knock doors or sales and have a no floor, no ceiling. That's my type of personality. So that's how I started being. And anybody could do that. They can start today. Yeah, it's all made up.
And with that, if I can,
JD,
really quick. So I see this in a lot of kids and stuff. This is what I was just talking to you guys out here. Kids' imagination and stuff. When you're little and stuff. I mean, shoot, I remember wanting to be a garbage truck driver because I thought it was cool to watch her pick up the garbage can.
Yeah.
Like, just the imagination. Like, that truck was alive. It wasn't the driver in the cab doing anything. It was. Whoa, that was back then. But obviously, then I grew and I wanted to play pro ball. Like, that was a very heavy dream of mine.
I had that same dream.
Practiced. I mean, I was very dedicated, and that's where I wanted to head in life, to different changes. But as kids and stuff, you see these kids, and I see a lot of things happen at home or influences around them when it's like, having that dream of being an astronaut or working with wildlife or, sea life or something that's just, it's amazing, like, that's a dream job. It really is, because 87% of Americans actually hate their job. Like, they do not like what they do. They do it because it's a necessity. It's not passion at all, and they'll keep it because of security. And the sad thing is they'll replace them if they fell over. You know what I mean? Right. So, but these kids, you see that and you hear that. Where do you think it goes off track that instills on that?
I'll share around that.
Yeah, because that's kind of where I wanted to go.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. Because that's important. Like, I've still felt that. I've felt this way again of an independent person for all my life, going through the crap I've gone through. But you see it in these kids, and it's like taking that magic again. You watch that magic die in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You see it as they get older. It's like, oh, well, you're almost 18, son. Buck up, go get a real job.
It dies when we choose to believe the stories we're told. So life loses purpose when we stop giving it purpose. So Viktor Frankl talks about the ultimate freedom being stripped away of human dignity. But the thing they couldn't strip from those people that were put in concentration camps was their attitude in any set of circumstances. So they got to choose the meaning they gave to what they were experiencing. Mm-hmm. And that's the most powerful thing that we can do. When kids stop giving their life meaning, when they stop finding those purposes, it's not just one. The word purpose means to go forward and rest. It's a place of pause. So we think of purpose as, I got one. I got one shot, like Eminem, right?
Yeah.
You only got one shot? You don't. You can have multiple purposes. So if one runs out, create another. So that's where kids stop, is they're taught, you have one purpose. If you don't reach it or live up to it, you're worthless. And they believe it. And so if we can shift that belief and start to create purpose and get back into that where nothing is sure, everything is possible, when there is no certainty, you can do anything.
Yeah.
Like Elon Musk is out there flying to Mars. Why? Believes he can.
Because he believes he can.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and then you may have the dream. So you guys had Bill Schaffenauer on your show, and I've known Bill for quite a few years, and I heard his story, his first story about how he was brought up, and of course his dreams of being in the Summer Olympics. Mm-hmm. Track and field. The guy worked his ass off to get there from a not very good upbringing.
Was it baseball? Then that didn't work out, or so he got cut, or football, and then he went to track and field.
It was the track and field. And it's because he kind of had the bad attitude and things like that. But then he blows his ankle out, and he's thinking, my dreams are gone. Well, no, his dream just moved up to a different dream that he had no clue was even there.
Yeah.
The guy ends up winning a flipping silver medal in the 2,200 Olympics for bobsled. I mean, from track and field to pushing a sleigh. But I tell you what, that guy that's pushing that sleigh, that guy needs to be strong and quick, and and it's like you just said, that dream doesn't have to stop. Because since I've lost my job, 12 years, I've been doing all kinds of weird things, just trying to go, okay, is this it? Is this it? Is this it?
Bill never would have thought that he would be a Winter Olympian
instead
in bobsled.
Instead of summer.
It was way over here, and then all of a sudden he's here.
You're going out today. You talked about going and delivering furniture. Like, we'll take an old piece of furniture and we'll repurpose it. But we fail and we don't repurpose us.
Yeah.
And that means just get another purpose. Like, the idea there is no limit. I look at Brandon Sulzer, who's in a wheelchair, broke his neck coming down Lake Powell, diving off that sand hill. He dove head first, broke his neck, paralyzed for life from the neck down. Had to repurpose. Now he writes books.
Yeah.
He talks to people about how we're all paralyzed. You look at AJ Hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Another one that's creating his purpose right now. He's in the process of creating a purpose. Guys like Jeff Griffin, Angie Barnett, who lost a limb.
Yeah. I know
Gotta
Angie from
repurpose.
St. George. Yeah.
Right.
Chad Himes. I was at a talk with him. I mean, had a landscape business going, very successful. Matter of fact, he's the one that did my aunt and uncle's landscape. And goes home in a hurry, and hay falls on him, breaks his neck and his back. He's in a wheelchair. Now the guy travels all over the world and shares his story. And
you're just a repurposed human.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That we all are. Like, how many of us
Little shabby chic.
Auction, the auction house. You're a repurposed human now teaching giant stuff. And if that failed, we'd find another one.
Our guest Jason, who was on not too long ago, matter of fact, his show was out a few weeks ago, but he talked about counting the steps forward, not the steps backwards. And it took me time to realize it, because my wife went through 7 rehabs, and she'd be in there for 30 days, come out, and 24 hours later she's freaking hammered again. And I used to throw the daggers at her, saying, "Yeah, you're never going to do this," and that's what I knew.
All for nothing.
And I was wrong by doing that. What I did not realize, and it's my friend Jim Carroll, who. And I've shared this before. I thought the dude was going to frickin' punch me right between the eyes, because one day he comes up at a networking group and he goes, "Hey, check this out." And reaches in his pocket, pulls out, and I'm like, "Oh, shit, Jim, that's awesome." He had his 5-year chip. That's congratulations. Like, yeah, I bought my wife a 1-year chip once when she went 13 months, but then when she started drinking, I took that chip away, and all of a sudden I could see, like, frickin' evil eyes and horns coming out, and I could see his face. I'm like, oh, shit, And he goes, "Don't you ever take a chip away. They deserve every damn day that they're sober." And it woke me up. I'm going, oh my gosh. Instead of celebrating her maybe going 5 days sober, I was knocking her back to being drinking. And Jason shared that on the show. He goes, I would go 5-6 days, and then I'd fall back. And then I'd beat myself up. And then he says, then I'd go maybe 10 days, and then I'd fall back, and I'd beat myself up. And then one day I realized, wait a minute, I went 3 more days than what I did
Celebrate
before.
your wins, yeah.
Or I went 5 more days than what I did before. Just because you're falling backwards doesn't mean that you're failing. As long as you continue. So it took my wife 7 rehabs. And it didn't dawn on me until that 7th frickin' time. She never stopped trying. Not once did she stop trying. But I was there to beat her up because she wasn't getting it. Because I thought she should get it. She was on her own damn journey. And that journey had to happen.
Yeah, and sometimes we do that to ourselves.
We do it to ourselves,
It might not be a husband-wife scenario. It might be a self scenario where where we have that, where we're like, oh, I did it again. I didn't do it. I'm the worst. But no, look what you did do.
Yeah. Find where, because all the stuff I've done in the past 12 years has led me to this point right now. None of this would be going on right now if I hadn't experienced what I've experienced the past 12 years. None of it. What you guys are doing with the League of Giants and Wake Up with Giants and talking to the schools, none of that would be going on if you guys just, okay, well, this shit didn't work out. All right, I'll
Throw
go
in the towel.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll throw in the towel.
Well, think,
and-
what if you would have never got the job over there?
There's a ton of different
Oh, yeah.
things that had to go
Yeah.
right and wrong
yeah,
to be able for our path to go
yeah,
and
They,
connect.
they were always possibilities,
always.
but our choices led to what we are today, and our choices now are going to lead to that in the future.
Yeah.
It's imagine if our kids were learning to walk and we said, "You suck at that. You were not. I don't think you were made for walking."
Yeah, yeah. You fell down 5 times.
Yeah.
I mean,
Walker ever.
Right.
yeah,
No, we don't do that. But when we get older, we do. And we start judging people from our intolerance of ourselves. And then we start telling them they can't do that. But then we're telling that to ourselves, I can't do that. So I'm going to judge you from the way I judge myself.
yeah,
And so that's the biggest issue is be honest. Own what you hold as a truth and know that that might be different from somebody else's. We can all have 4 different truths right here in this room. And they would all be accurate,
yeah. Absolutely.
right?
Yeah. Dead on.
Ownership, honesty is simply owning whatever that truth is,
Yep.
not imposing it on others or obligating others to see it our way. And that's what we're running into is this polarization right now is
Yeah.
everybody's wrong. Well, everybody's also right.
Yeah.
That's
I
how
have
they
no idea
how they
you're-
perceive it. It's not that it's wrong. It's how what they've been shown and what they. I get that. I
Yeah.
mean, dealing with people.
We
on
probably
that.
have
Yeah.
more in common than not in common. That's what I love too about Giants is we can look at what we have in common and help each other no matter what our race, religion, background, politics. I have no idea what yours is, Alan, and I don't care because I know who
Yeah.
you are as a person.
That's how I see people as well. I don't
beautiful.
give a crap. I mean, what you do in your own personal life or how you do things, the way I see it, you treat me with respect, and you're a person who loves and kindness, and you want to help others. I mean,
Boom.
that's
I think
that's all that matters
what
to
it
me.
should really simply come down to. It shouldn't matter about color, race, anything like that. Your
Yeah.
background, your political view, your religion, or anything. It's really simple. Really simple. Either you
Well,
do good things or you don't.
The whole cancel culture that we're running into right now is people out there canceling based on what they think is right.
Right.
And so, in a way, our getting ahead of that, well, I don't want to be canceled, is creating more of that cancel culture and creating the space for that to even occur. If that comes up, then we talk about it. And this is relevant for us, is why I'm talking about it right now. Is that they're trying to put their imposition of what they think is right and wrong on other people. Even the word good and evil, going back to biblical definitions of it, was simply ripe or unripe. That's what it meant. Somewhere along the way, we changed it to mean good and evil and right and wrong. But it was just simply the process of being ready and not ready, right? And if we could look at what's going on in the world as ready and not ready, developed and not developed, useful and not useful, it would shift things.
Yeah.
And so
I've known JD for 2 hours.
yeah.
I love this guy.
I appreciate it. I love you guys
Just the way
too.
of being.
I
This
think
is-
he's a dick, but it's okay. That's just my first expression.
Full circle.
I'll take it.
And
I'll
judgment
take it.
placed.
Right. Yeah. It
You
did
know,
get a little deep in
It
here,
did.
didn't
It
it?
did.
Yeah.
You know, and
It's really hard. It
Vanessa,
takes one to know one.
Vanessa Brewer, said that on her show that if we look at everything as love
Vanessa.
separates everything else,
Well,
because
I've
you
got a
can't
thought on
have that
that,
other
too.
stuff.
Yeah, so love masked, or fear masked as love.
Yeah.
I'm saying something because I care. You're afraid. I'm saying it because I don't want you to get hurt. You're afraid. You're coming from fear. That is not love.
Right.
Because love would give me space to do it and let it play out.
Mhm.
However it plays out, and trust the human ability to recover.
Yeah.
We have it within us.
Talking on that now, you can really do this, and I actually love the way you just said that because he just connected some dots, right? So it's like how when I talked to you and said, you know, that your wife's addiction became your addiction,
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
And the same thing, like I've had that issue with my wife and stuff, and I had to come to a point, you know, like it was one of those things, like I felt like, again, like I would get so angry at her when she would go down a bender, you know, and like, why, how could you do this to me? Like, why would you do this to me? Why would you do this to the kids, right? To me, yeah. And out of the, like, and you express it, it's like an emotion, like, I don't want you to do this, like, it's not good for us, like, but I'd get angry at it, like, because I didn't know how to deal with it. I mean, finally, I got to a point where it was like, you know what, I love you. If this is the path you're going to do, like, you're going to have to do it on your own, and I can't be a part of it. And, like, step back and let it play out. Like, she wants to go do it, then it's like, but I love myself, and I know where I'm headed. And, like, I'm happy to have you on my train. I'm here to help you if you have those moments. But, like, if that's a path that you're willing to go down, like, this is my, like, understanding that I didn't clearly set my boundaries and follow my boundaries to me.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
It's just alignment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's, like, this doesn't work
Like,
for me.
like if we can't be on that same wavelength, and I respect your boundaries and what you have, right? But if that's something that is a part of that, and it's something that just on my side I can't support and I can't be around to get to that point of being violently drunk like she has, you know, like I don't have to, like, I'm sorry, I love you, but you can go do that elsewhere.
Yeah.
And you
Like,
can totally be you, right?
Yeah, like and I've got to that point where I'm like, I mean, I hit a point with my wife, but I was like, I called the cops, like I did, like it hit that bad of a point, and so she's driving with my daughter in the car, and I was like, all right, I got that phone call from a loved one saying, hey, this might be going on, like cool, and they showed up with her there and stuff, and they're like, you know, breathalyzing all that stuff to her and stuff, and she's all freaking out. He's just gonna get mad, and I was like, actually, I'm not. It's like that's why I called them.
Yeah.
Taxes are paying them anyways, you know. Let's I'll let them handle it. But like my whole mind shift changed in that aspect of like I needed to care and love me and respect me and my boundaries, and what she did, I had no control over. You know.
So something that's interesting too, as you're wondering, okay, well, how can I? Nick has his I am statements. He's not always that.
I'm not.
He's not.
Are you sure?
He's
I
got
it pretty. I was like,
but the greatest growth is where I'm not.
Right, but his hat says it best too. Be to do. So
I thought it said Beto do.
Yes. Be
That's
to
a
do.
good way. Yeah.
Yeah, but be to do. So it's being aware and conscious of your behaviors, being aware and conscious of what you want.
Yeah.
And then start being that. If you want to be something different, start being something different.
Yeah.
It creates your doing. Your being creates your doing.
Exactly right. Yeah, 100%.
What's that thought? You know, thoughts become things. You know,
Well,
what your thought process is.
The be todo in Spanish means whole. To be whole. Be complete in yourself. So it's a double meaning here. It's be to do what you want in your life, but be whole.
Yeah. Be okay with
as you.
Yeah.
Be whole.
I love it.
This has been some good stuff. We probably ought to stop this show because this has been going for a while. But
we started at 10 a.m. and it's about 6:30 p.m.
Yeah. Right. How can we stop though? I mean, this stuff has been so just incredible. I mean, really, everything that was spoken today. I mean, audience, man, you've got to grasp this because 4 of us in this room have been doing this. And is it perfect? Oh, hell no. Not by a long shot. But it's changing our lives. I mean, even if it's this much, it's better than what it was.
And there's pain and there's fear and there's discouragement and there's doubt and all the things that come up. Yeah. But again, on the other side of that, on the other side of the addiction, on the other side of all these choices and things, is that growth.
Addiction isn't just about substance; it's a way of being.
It's a way of being.
So you're addicted to your way of being. That's our chance to change.
Yeah,
you know?
That's a great way of putting it. So,
go
ahead.
Really quick, if I may ask. I mean, what are your guys' goals with Tribe of Giants, or what are your goals?
Yeah,
where do you guys want to?
Let me shift the word goal. Okay. You know, goal is so like rigid and it's between one point and another. Like in the vision, our vision is to impact 100 million lives globally.
Yeah, Nicole mentioned that.
Our vision is a Pixar movie or something better. If there's something better that comes along, I'm open to that. Pixar, Disney. Our vision is to be impacting schools and impacting people's lives. that they recognize their giant potential and that they become that we're teaching programs all over the world, not just to schools, but we're doing retreats, that we're in businesses and we're teaching these principles. These 12 journeys that we have are powerful. I'm teaching that tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. live on the Tribe. It'll be in there.
And what's interesting too is we can't do this by ourselves,
No.
just for Nick and Ryan,
Yeah.
or even the League or the Tribe. It takes the Owls, it takes the JDs, it takes everyone spreading good. I mean, that's really what the message is love, good, positive, like these things that we've talked about in the show today, to adults, children, everybody, anybody that'll listen, and it takes a group.
Takes a tribe.
Takes a
So
tribe.
answering in addition to your question, that vision gives us goals. It gives us how-tos. The how-to is a goal. It's one possibility of myriad that are out there.
This is one of those.
So this
those
is
ways as
is
well.
a goal to be here, right? Another goal or another possibility is something else. An event, another book, another whatever.
So that
Yeah.
goal that you said earlier about us all working together, that was
He was just feeding you crumbs there, buddy. Just hate to break it to you.
Yeah.
No, but
I'm
we are
aware.
working together.
no, like
That's
I
it.
said,
You're already working
again, I do.
together.
Yeah,
Like
we
I
are.
said, I do. I'm very grateful for you guys and what you guys are doing. Like this really does hit very close to home because not just the stuff with my wife and stuff, obviously relevant if futures where I've been, but like things again from my past and what my sister went through and what I went through as a kid and stuff. Like, I mean, now you know my story and stuff,
Yep.
but I didn't have much time to be a kid.
Yeah.
I really didn't. I felt like I became an adult really fast. I mean, I was defending my mom against fights with her second husband when I was a young age.
Right.
I mean, I get my ass whooped.
Right.
For no reason. Like that was one thing I had confused. I had a hard time understanding that. I was like, why did that come from? What did I do? Like legit. What did I do? Like
Yeah.
if I did something wrong, like okay, but like I just looked like I felt like one of those punching bags you buy kids at Stern Rock.
I've been.
I just felt like
I'm
I-
gonna do in Nick fashion what I do to. I've called Ryan out on this. You have a story, and you're very good at telling that story. And that story can change. You're telling this story with all the details and the boxing bag and what my dad was like, and what my mom was like, and all the reasons you are who you are. And every one of us in this room has one of those.
Mm-hmm.
It's very convincing. If you were to write a book about that, people would buy your story. And the problem with that is you are buying your story. Does that make sense? Like you have an opportunity to retell that story in a different way. It's all made up. Like I am not discounting where your story came from, but that story is made up. And this might hit people a little hard here, is because it's made up, that memory that you have, you bring it forward every day and you recreate it, and then you start from there. And there's an opportunity for you to rewrite that story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that sit with that. Let that sink in for a bit, because you might get really angry. Like, I would almost swear here. Nick, F Nick for saying that.
No,
That's where there's opportunity.
being where I'm at, and
Yeah.
open-minded, I can see and exactly relate to what you're saying and being able to obviously recreate that.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see where JD is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep.
But, like, I mean, if you would have told me that, like,
We'd be
8,
fighting.
10 years ago,
Right.
I'd have been like, you weren't there, Nick. Like, this is what it was. You have no idea.
Right.
I was standing there and he just, wham, that was it. Like, no, like, I get what you're saying.
I've
that's,
had people say that too.
yeah, no, and I believe it,
Yeah.
but being open-minded and stuff, like, I get it, because, like, how I seen it and how I was perceived as a kid and what I went through growing up in teenage years to adult years and stuff, like, everybody has an opportunity to change their story, and I truly believe that,
Yeah.
from where it was,
Right.
and the things that, make us into who we are.
Yeah.
Well, you hear it all the time. So I want you guys to let the audience know how do they find you? Where can they go? Because there are so many people that have been on your show that have rewritten their story.
Yeah.
A ton.
Yeah.
So
And just to see where they were
it's
to
possible.
where they are now.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, I got goosebumps just thinking about it because it's possible.
Sure.
So how do they find you guys?
You can go to our website, giantsandsmalls.com, and you can order the book. Currently, Nick signs all the books, but there'll be an option to you pay a little extra because he's getting carpal tunnel from selling so many books. He can't do it. We're so
Can't do it
busy
anymore.
Yeah,
That's good.
But so there's that. There's the opportunity to get the hard copy. We also have soft cover, and then there's also a kids coloring book, which is pretty dang cool.
Wow.
There's merchandise that we carry, just to remind yourself that, hey, you're a giant.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Bracelets,
hats,
hats.
That's what
shirts.
we're working on right now. We're working on swag.
We're going to get you some stuff too, so that you'll remember, the great time that we had here today. And we'll get you a book because I don't think you have a book.
I have a book. I actually bought one on Amazon.
What?
Yeah.
You
Okay,
did?
We'll get you
Is it
something
signed
else.
or-
We'll find you something.
What?
Is it signed?
I can't remember honestly.
For just $5 more.
That's how this
Four
is.
easy payments. Of,
4 easy payments of
you sound like Ron
$5.
Popeil.
Yeah. No, if we're ever together, bring it.
Yeah,
I'll
okay.
sign it
Yeah,
for you.
for
Okay,
sure.
awesome. Yeah,
And
I'd
then
love to.
you can obviously we've talked about the Tribe of Giants. You can join the Tribe of Giants on Facebook, and there network and meet other people that are going through the life. It's the same stuff, just maybe a different story, different different thing, but you might be able to relate to it. We had Al on several times, and we'll have him on again. See how I volunteered you to work together?
yeah.
We're going to work
Yeah.
together a lot. And then you can watch Wake Up with Giants TV. We have a Wake Up with Giants radio.
On YouTube.
As well. So there's lots of places. Yeah, YouTube. You can go to YouTube and subscribe.
Ding the bell. Ding ding.
Yeah. Well, and I've sent quite a few people to the Facebook page.
We
'cause-
appreciate that.
Oh, let me just off of that. I've never met you guys in person, so just on your guys' book, I have one for myself. But one of my customers, they didn't become a customer in solar, but a guy that heroin addict and stuff, been up and down and stuff and that. And I just barely met him, but because of your book, I ordered him a copy and gave it to him and his mom. And
Yeah.
it was just, again, one of those things like, hey,
Yeah.
this is something that's impacting a lot of people's life. It's reached, touched me, and it's.
I love that because it's
We'll hold it
it's
up to the
the
camera
self-help book
again.
that you can finish in 30 minutes. It's
Yeah.
the one that you can finish start to finish. Start
Yeah,
to
Right.
finish,
I
right?
did. I think I told you guys
Yeah.
that first time I got it. I'm like, this is the first time I've sat down and read a
a
book
book.
from
Yeah,
front to cover
Right.
without stopping. Yeah.
And kids get the message. We've had 4-year-olds read it and get the message and call themselves giants. We've had
Yeah.
80-year-olds who are starting their journey that call themselves giants. So being a giant is just being in the journey. Being small is just recognizing where you're not being the giant
And then
Right.
shining the light on
it,
it.
shining the light on it. Yeah, give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I
I
said,
love it.
again, it's one of those things. Again, after recommend, I never even, like I said, I've heard of you guys. They told me about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I follow your group on Facebook and stuff. But again, that book and stuff. When Al, we were talking about it. It was again, I was on the field, and it was one of those. It was an instant, like, hey, look, I have something that can help you out. He'd spent time in prison and that, and had gone through rehab and. Like trying to work on his life, and he's doing well, looked good, but just one of those things you could just see like stuff still eats at him, and so I was
Yeah.
like, hey, I've got something for you. So I actually ordered him one and took it over to him.
that's
and his mom in
amazing.
Springville.
Sweet.
So
Thank you.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
See, goes to show what you guys are doing, man. This
Yeah.
thing is growing. Ryan, you even said it. It takes all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I had a family member say, well, how come you're going on other podcasts? Don't you should be worrying about yours? And I'm like, hey, man, we're all out here sharing a message. And it takes all of us to share that message. If there's another podcast out there that talks about addiction, hell, I want to be on it because
Right.
I want to share my journey and I want to help them, because as long as we're all helping one another, we're expanding.
That's beautiful.
You can't keep it to yourselves. You've got to share it with the world, especially when you know and you feel deep down inside that you got something great. And the messages, hell, I see messages that you guys get on Facebook all the time, man. You're touching so many people's lives. Seriously, you are. And when I got on in November, I haven't even been on a year, and I think at that time you guys were only like at 600 members, or
maybe 400
or
around
yeah,
Thanksgiving
to
time.
see where you guys are
Now
at
4,000. Yeah.
now. It's a group. It's everybody, could you guys have done that by yourselves, just you're like, hey, it's going to be the Nick and Ryan. We're going to
Tried
be
that.
the,
I tried
it
that.
doesn't work.
It doesn't go.
No, you've got to have everybody,
Yep.
as many people as possible.
I
So,
wouldn't be where I am today without Ryan. It wouldn't be where it is today without him.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be where it is today without any of the league members. And there's been an evolution even in that. We've had league members decide that it doesn't align anymore for them, and they go do what aligns for them. Jared Miller,
Love Jared.
Yeah, he was on our show.
he
yeah.
used to be a league member. with us, and he separated out and did his own show, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
perfect.
phenomenal.
But-
Amy Bingham, you know?
But that step was there,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
The League of Giants was one of his stepping stones to get him to
Correct.
where he's at.
And that's the beauty of it, is you do you and do what aligns with you. We're going to do us.
Yeah.
And it might not look like what aligns for you, and that's okay.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly right.
Jared, we want you on the show some more too.
Yeah.
Radio show, because Al's been on twice. You've only been on once. So.
Yeah, calling it out.
Love you, brother.
we still love you and support you. What you're doing is amazing.
Yes.
So it's incredible.
It's like
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, my wife and I was coming home from somewhere. I can't remember what it was, and we were talking about. It was on a Thursday, and we were talking about the show that we had. Because every time I come home or she gets home, she's like, "How was your show?" And it's the same answer. "Oh my gosh, it was so freaking great!" You know, she's like, "You say that about every show," and it's like, it's because they're all so freaking great, you know. But she goes, "You just remember, it was because of me why you're doing what you're doing." And I'm like,
She
"Oh,
keeps you
great!"
humble.
So
Yeah, right.
I gotta give all the credit to you. No, but she's right.
Your wife is phenomenal.
You know,
by the
but
way. I got
she's-
to meet her too, and she's phenomenal.
Yeah, she's right. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't
For that
for the
experience,
journey and
right?
that
Yeah,
experience
yeah.
that
She's
that
like,
she
I'll take
went
my
on, so.
90% off the top.
90. Hell, she's asking for 99%.
You're like, there's nothing left.
My wife
Where's
says,
mine?
"What's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine."
Yeah.
I don't
What?
get that.
What?
Yeah. You got to turn that around.
Yeah. Hey guys, again, thank you for your time.
Thanks
I
for
mean,
letting
greatly
us-
appreciate. This has been a lot of fun. I mean, really, this has been a blast. It's been a long show, but it was worth every single freaking minute of it. So
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
I'm
Yeah.
grateful I got to finally meet Nick in person.
Yeah,
you know,
me
so
too. Yep.
yeah, it's great just to be around you guys. I mean, it's a blessing. It's an honor. Thank you for everything that you're doing. Thank you for all the lives that you were touching. JD, again, buddy, thank you for your time. You got
Yeah.
something you want
Yeah,
to
just
say
real quick again, for anybody that's listening to this or watching this, just again, if you know anybody that needs to hear it, please send it their way, and then also to make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.
Yeah.
And again, thank you so much, guys, for being here. We
Yeah,
definitely
you as
appreciate
well.
what you guys are doing, and yeah, I'm very happy and grateful to be plugged into the culture.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Yeah, and guys, get your book. I mean, definitely order that book, The Giant and the Smalls, because it is worth it. I mean, it really is worth it. So, guys, we hope you have a wonderful week. Nick and Ryan, again, thank you for your time.
Thank
and
you.
we're going to leave you with this, as I do every week. Remember, addiction is giving up everything for one thing. Recovery is giving up one thing for everything.